Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to share with you these fun, easy, budget-friendly DIYs. Here is a sneak peek and let's get started into the first DIY. I am going to be using a lot of Dollar Tree items, so I'm starting with this square wood plaque. They come in a pack, maybe a 5 or 6 from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to give it a coat of paint from Waverly Chalk Paint in the color Celery. Obviously, the beauty with DIYs is that you can do it up for your own personal style and decor and whatever colors work in your home. But we're going to give this a coat, and I'm actually going to paint both sides because we're going to be making a double-sided sign. And then I'm also going to take a Jenga block and just stain it with some antique wax from Waverly. You could also just use some brown paint. If you water it down, it kind of goes on like a stain. I'm going to apply mine with a baby wipe. It just goes on really well, and it definitely looks more like a stain. And we're going to let that dry. We are going to be using these large stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're these like 3D stickers, and I had a couple left in the pack that I had gotten a while ago, and so I'm just going to hot glue it to the center of the square. I use my little ruler to try my best to get it to the center, and then I'm going to use this burlap trim. This is also from Dollar Tree. It's really fun. It comes in like 3 different patterns and designs, and we're going to hot glue this around the perimeter. On the corners, I'm folding it down in like a little triangle, as you can kind of see, folding it over, and I'm just going to do that all the way around so that it is the same everywhere. If you are new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave and hit that notification bell next to it so that you don't miss out on my future videos. Because I love sharing budget-friendly DIYs with you, a lot of times using Dollar Tree items or thrifted items or I don't know, clearance items, whatever budget-friendly items that I can find. So when I get around the end to the end of this trim, I just cut it and trim it and just try to make it kind of look seamless here as I fold that last corner over. Then I'm just going to use a little hot glue, and we're going to attach the Jenga block to the bottom to give us a little stand. And then I'm going to go around with a lighter, being careful to not catch the cardboard sticker on fire, and just burn off any little fuzzies from the burlap trim. And now I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to place the other sticker I had. It's the same size. We're going to put that on the other side, and I'm just going to make a little finger bow from this jute twine that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. It's like this taupe and white or tan and white color, and I just wrapped it around my fingers a few times. Took another piece and tied it off in the middle. I kind of tie it loosely at first, and then once I slide my fingers out, I can kind of shimmy it around to make sure the loops are even, and then I tie it in a knot. We'll also burn off any fuzzies with a lighter. Once again, that's always an optional step, but I do like to do that. And then we're going to use our hot glue to attach it to the top and trim off the little tails. And that is it for this DIY. I love how it came out. I think it's going to be cute on a tiered tray or even just like a shelf filler. You can obviously turn it around and show both sides, or on a tiered tray that you can see both sides at the same time. It's kind of nice to have that. All right, so for this next one, I'm going to take you on a journey here. We've got these rectangle wood planks and the wood cubes from Dollar Tree. I was also showing you that you could use Jenga blocks. Now for my piece with the rectangle piece, we're also going to use some wood glue here. So with the rectangle piece, the Jenga blocks were not going to fit the way I needed them to. So I went with the wood cubes. You could also cut down the Jenga blocks, or what would be really, really easy would be those square wooden dowels. You can pick them up at Walmart or other craft stores. They're not very expensive. If you have a saw, you can cut them down. That would be the easier route to take. I was trying to emulate some signs that I've just seen in various places. I can't even think of like a specific place. But they're a Farmhouse sign. They're white. They're simple. They've just got a word in the bottom right-hand corner, and they've got a solid frame. So I was trying to make something like that, but using items that I already had on hand. I'm really, really trying to craft my stash because there's going to be fall stuff coming out, Christmas stuff coming out really soon. So I'm trying to craft my stash. So what I'm doing to try to make mine look as smooth as possible, I didn't want the look of the individual cubes, but you could certainly do that, and that would be easier than what I'm doing here. I glued together all 4 of my sides with wood glue. You could also use hot glue, but wood glue is going to hold better. And I'm using this filler from it's like a lightweight spackling from the Dollar Tree, and I am just applying it to all of the sides. I think I did 3 of the 4 sides, and just trying to smooth it over because, you know, each cube is not like exactly the same size or just not cut perfectly. And then I'm going to let that fully dry, and then we will give it a good sanding to try to smooth it out. So this idea worked decently, but it's not perfect. So, you know, if you want to try it, go for it. I went in with some brown paint. First I tried watering it down and um, didn't like that. I needed more coverage. And then I ended up not liking this color at all, so I ended up going in with burnt umber and gave it a good coat with that color, and I liked that better. So yeah, we're just going to paint all of this, and then we're going to put our frame together. And then I'm going to take the wood plank, and we're going to paint this with white. I'm just using some acrylic paint from Apple Barrel. I think it might have been Snow White, but it doesn't really matter. And I am going to coat both sides. I'm not worrying about the edges because those won't be seen. And I'm just going to give both sides a good coat and let that fully dry. And now I've got these rub-on transfer letters from Dollar Tree. You could also use stickers or a Cricut or whatever. And I am going to use this sign for my kitchen. So I'm just cutting out all of the letters I need to write the words "Eat Up." I thought that was kind of cute. And I'm going to just transfer those on. You just peel the back off, lay the clear part down with the, you know, the image is still going to be on that, and just scrape it. I'm just pressing it with my fingernail. Sometimes you can use like a craft stick or something else, but these transferred pretty easily. I wish I'd moved, I wanted it in the bottom right corner, but I wish I'd moved it over just a little bit because in the end it was a little bit hard to make sure we weren't cutting off any of the letter. I had one little spot on the T and the E that didn't transfer perfectly, so I just went in with a fine tip Sharpie to fill it in, and you'll never notice. And then I'm going to cover this with some Mod Podge. I'm using a satin finish just because that's what I have, but it doesn't really matter. Do whatever you prefer. And now somehow when I went to assemble this, it was not lining up the same. Maybe that's because I put that lightweight spackling and didn't sand it all down, or I just mismeasured in the beginning. But nonetheless, it wasn't going to work exactly as the way I thought it would. So right now I'm just going to use some hot glue. Once again, you could use wood glue. They're not really interchangeable, but definitely the hot glue is not as good of a hold, but it worked just fine for this. We're going to assemble our frame. I realized I pointed out there that I did not paint the ends of some of those. Some of those ends needed to be painted, but we'll go back and take care of it. So now I'm just figuring out how I want to attach this because I was originally wanting to attach this inside the frame, but that wasn't going to work. So I'm going to just attach it on the back, but it's not touching all of the sides. So I'm just putting some hot glue on, and the first go at this, the white sign was not touching anywhere where the hot glue was. It just didn't attach at all. So then I peeled off the hot glue, which of course peeled off the paint because I hadn't sealed it yet. But it's okay, this is the back of the frame. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm just going to hold it in place and put any glue around the sides that there is contact. There ends up being a little bit of a gap at the top, but when the sign is sitting on a shelf, you actually really can't see that at all. So it ends up working out just fine. I'm going to go in with more of that burnt umber. We're going to touch up the couple spots where the paint had come off. Even though it's the back of the sign, I did want it to be more finished. And we're going to paint the ends of the frame as well that I didn't do because I wasn't thinking about how it would be assembled. And then we're going to go in and seal the frame with some Mod Podge. And I just like to do that so that you don't have the paint scraping off. I do end up attaching a Jenga block on the back. I don't show you that, but that's because the sign was not standing up on its own as much as I thought it would, but I just quickly hot glued one in the center on the bottom, and it worked great. And all in all, even though it was a little bit of a trouble, I think the sign came out really cute, and I look forward to putting it up in my kitchen. All right, so for this next one, we're going to use this jar. This is, I think, a spaghetti jar. And then I have this ring. It's rusty. It actually doesn't fit on this. It doesn't go with it, but so it doesn't like screw on, but it will sit on it just fine. And then I have this old hymnal that I like to use for craft supply or for crafting. And as you can see, there's some ripped pages. So I don't feel bad ripping it, but I'm going to give it new life. And so you could also print off some music sheets or buy some scrapbook paper that looks like music sheets as well. And we're going to paint the top of this, the rim of this jar lid, the ring, is that what it's called, a ring, with some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I do ultimately give it 2 coats, and then we're going to seal it with Mod Podge because the paint to me is likely to scrape off, especially because it is on metal. So this just seals it in and protects it. And now we're going to go in with some Mod Podge and these sheets, and we're going to rip them up and put them in all different, not exactly different directions. I didn't want to put any upside down, but I do have some kind of crooked. And we're going to just Mod Podge all over this jar. You won't be able to see that this jar has any writing or words on it, like indents. You won't be able to see it at all, although I don't mind that for some DIYs. It wouldn't really go with it here, but you can't see it. The paper covers it up. So I just go on with a thin layer of Mod Podge, put the paper down, and then I don't really dip the paintbrush in the Mod Podge a lot more for the top coat. I just kind of am using it to smooth it out, push down the corners, and I just keep going and going until all of this is covered. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much. It's very easy for you to do, and it's a great way to help support my channel. When I have comments and thumbs up and people subscribe and all of those interactions on my videos, it lets YouTube know that people are enjoying my content, and it makes them more likely to share my video with other people, which of course helps me out. So give it a thumbs up if you like budget-friendly DIYs. Once that was all dry, I just popped the rim on, and I did tie a little bit of twine in between the top of the jar and the lid, and just tied it in a knot. It's kind of hard to see, but it just kind of fills in any gaps there, and put in these little flowers that I had picked up on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I absolutely love how this came out. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, once again, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.